Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Crypto Sparta podcast. I'm here with Brian, and
What's up?
we're gonna start off with the markets as usual.
Yeah, so there's like a little, bull trap or whatever you want to call it, where ETH kind of recovered, kind of went up close to 2,900 or 3,000 or close to 3,000, and now it's hovering around 2,800. So
People really wanted it to just it's gonna teleport from 3 to 4.
yeah, like the 7 day is like 13% up for Ethereum, and then Bitcoin had an 8% bump. It went from like 39 to like 41, 42. So like 42 Bitcoin, like 3,000 ETH is like where we've basically been ranging at.
We are gonna talk about macro. We got like a couple topics planned out for today, but we were watching some of these funny videos about like inflation, the Fed. We
Yeah,
were reading some doom porn about like financial catastrophe
Arthur
looming on the
Hayes.
yeah, like everything is going down. um we had seen like this big article that Bloomberg had come out with, which was pretty tone deaf, and I don't know what they were thinking saying that,
Oh my
because
God.
they were saying, inflation hurts people
You
with
got,
less than
so you
300,000.
gotta hunker down and buy money. It's
if,
basically
if
like,
if you don't make 300,000, inflation might be impacting you. And I'm
it's,
like, who are
yeah, it's
they're talking to
basically,
almost everyone.
it's,
Is their readership all rich
yeah,
CEOs?
like -1%. It's basically like don't buy avocado toast. Like,
Yeah.
save your money, don't buy your coffee. Basically like instead of meat, buy lentils or eat lentils. Like
No, and kill your dog.
yeah,
Yeah, the memes were.
don't pay for cancer treatments for your dog. Don't drive. But then they push Biden's like everyone should return to work. Like
Yeah, and I mean,
that's hard to do with gas prices
the
increasing.
article that I was reading was Zero Hedge, which I like to read, although some people say they might be, I don't know, typical smear this or that. That I don't know. Brian said he heard that they were from Ukraine or something.
No, they were the US government like said that he was connected to Russia or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
But
knowing or like
I
some
mean, some of the stuff they post isn't even
pushing
necessarily from
propaganda.
them writing about it. And this was obviously like a crazy worst case scenario where they were looking at stagflation maybe setting in, where even though we raise the rates really high, um, basically still inflation is going to keep going. And then if we don't raise the rates are going up. I think that there's another what, six priced in.
Yeah, so this week we got our first rate hike where people are like the Fed was, scaring people and saying they're going to raise it by 50 points, but then they only raise it by 25 points. So to soften the blow or to like not spook the market. But
And then that was when actually a lot of buying happened. So both the
yeah,
S&P and crypto kind of bounced up.
that
I
was
think
the
people
crypto
were trying to
bounce.
say that people were like happy that they were doing something, and like, but also that it wasn't too drastic. I mean, it's going to be weird though, because I think the tug of war that they were saying in the Zero Hedge article of raising interest rates to try to tame inflation, which is probably double what they officially say. The consumer price index is up above 10%. And they're trying to say that it's actually 20% if you use different metrics. And it obviously hits poorer people the hardest. Meanwhile, they have this, Bloomberg article being like, if you're under 300K a year in salary, which if you're from a foreign country, which I know we have some listeners in India, shout out India, 300K is like a ridiculous sum of money to expect
Yeah.
the average reader to have. And then them telling you to eat lentils and stuff, like, it'll be interesting to see if they really start hurting the recovery with raising inflation rates faster, or if they just let inflation kind of run out of control. And you kind of got to pick your poison, and it's just a tug of war balance, basically.
Yeah, it's tough with the oil prices going up and
Yeah.
then Arthur Hayes wrote another
Well,
fearful
in
article.
China, they're shutting down some of the stuff, which is where production happens. So supply chain will get hurt
The
even more so.
the kind of hypocritical thing is that like Russia like is provides us with most of our gas in Europe and like oil, and so it's like we can't completely cut them off, otherwise like we don't have gas to heat our homes, or
Well, and it's not
fuel.
us necessarily, but it's more like Germany. And it's like, even if we decide that we're not going to spend money on Russian stuff, the Germans are going to keep doing it. And then, they had a deal with India where India is now paying for Russian oil with rupees, and they're exchanging rupees and rubles, which the reason this is a big deal is because before everything was traded in the dollar, especially for energy, which was, oil. And so now, if these governments create secret deals between their currencies, and they can tie it to the dollar, but they can pay in their own currencies, and suddenly the dollar is less important and has less significance on the bigger scale. So,
Well, didn't they allow China to use the yuan?
yeah,
Like
and they're
at the
also doing
same
that
thing?
as well. But they were reporting that India has been taking in large shipments of underpriced, discounted Russian oil to keep the economy running. And so, even if the US isn't buying it, other people are. So, I mean, that's kind of a lot of like, macro stuff, but we're talking about the inflation stuff and lentils, and then also, geopolitics impact stuff. Um, Following up with El Salvador, Honduras has also said that they will have Bitcoin as legal tender.
Well, and also Ukraine, after that whole the donations in crypto, that whole debacle, and then supposed airdrop just to get people to donate more.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, but
And then they legalized crypto too. So in Ukraine, and I mean that's probably more impactful for Ukraine because
mm,
a million people got displaced, or like it was a million or 10 million people that got displaced and like don't have access or have lost everything.
it'll probably weigh on the Europeans a lot, honestly. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't been, I've got a plan to go back to Barcelona to see people, but I know that a lot of Europeans are like donating stuff to Ukrainians and seeing kind of like the impact. And, then it's the same where people always try to go to Europe. And so then it's like they start pointing at who should take in the refugees or what their border policy is.
Yeah, don't get us started on like the other stuff where it's like they're only letting the white people in, like
Yeah.
the black Ukrainians, or like,
Africans
yeah,
and Indian and Nigerian students that were on visa. And
yeah,
yeah. But I'm in a different, did you find the video?
yeah. So this
So,
is the shout out Kyla
so
Scanlon. She makes funny fintech or educational content, and also like meme content.
and like, this is one of our shills. Like, if you're not making 300,000, you probably should get some lentils.
Yeah. So this is, they made a TikTok.
Hello, whores. If you make under $300,000 a year, inflation might be hurting your wallet. The loser.
So here are some ways you can combat
If
inflation.
you're lower income, you might spend about 3% of your cash on gasoline.
To alter this, cut the bottom out of your car and pedal it with your feet like the Flintstones.
Relatable. Or stand outside your house and wait for a large bird to pick you.
Okay, some more tips. Dog food can also be expensive. To counter this, try killing your
The only
dog.
pet that you should have should be a raw.
Substitutes are also important.
Instead of meat and vegetables, try metabolizing your own cells.
Think outside of the box by living inside.
When it comes to food, don't be afraid to explore. Eat lentils, drink lentils, breathe lentils, eat lentils.
Buying in bulk is hard. Plan to also try splitting the groceries with a friend, then wait till that friend is asleep and rob them of everything they have. There are no friends in the inflation economy.
With all these tips, you'll be a more creative, more resilient person.
Brain elasticity. We hope these tips help. And remember, no one ever said this was easy.
Yeah, just buckle yourself up by the bootstraps.
I mean, the sentiment is pretty bad. And one of the other things I was wanting to mention about like seeing all this stuff was also like the idea of cyclical, hopefully after people pay their taxes, then people have more money to spend. But I had an interview with two students from Europe trying to write their paper about quantifying and analyzing the adoption of crypto around the world. And so I believe it'll be posted on the Crypto Sparta website, as well as like some clips might be put on the Instagram. But I talked with them for like over an hour, and they were saying that there's a noticeable downtrend in retail. Like a lot of average people are not participating, so it's all institutional money. There's no like new
Yeah.
suckers coming in. There's no exit
That's what I'm saying.
liquidity.
There's no one's new coming into crypto because of the macro situation.
There's a lot of like bad sentiment too. And I mean, even I saw like some people that I know on Facebook, I'm in a chat with them where it's kind of, I would say, lower stakes, like people don't have lots and lots of money. And someone was messaging like, oh man, all those people buying crypto 6 months ago aren't very loud. Like they're pretty quiet nowadays.
Well, even the crypto commercials like really have gone down since the Super Bowl. Like no crypto.com really, or like Coinbase.
But we were talking about I sent you that tweet where it was a guy who said that he had made 500,000 in capital gains.
No, he made 7 figures and he had 500,000 capital gains tax, and then he gambled it all and then lost it. And then so he doesn't have enough money to pay the 500.
Said I'm 25 years old, like.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, at that point, people were just like saying like F in the chat or like declare Chapter 7.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like we were trying to get hyped up for this episode, but overall, everything's a bit bearish, to be honest.
It's like the mood is like hunkered down. Like no one wants to spend any money. Like people know that bad times are like worse times could come, so they're saving all their money, hoarding their money, not really spending it while inflation goes up. So it's like a double whammy.
Yeah. I mean, despite all that, like we can move forward to like honestly, the big story was ApeCoin.
Yeah. So so this is not affiliated with Bored Ape Yacht Club, but like it was a coin made for the community. Like it was a DAO made for the community to like raise funds or whatnot. And so there was a huge airdrop for 15% of the supply was sent to BAYC and Mutant Ape Yacht Club holders.
And the Kennel Ape Yacht Club. Yeah.
Yeah. So people
in the ecosystem.
Yeah. So only 15% of the supply. I mean, it's only 5,000 holders, obviously, for the collection. And so are like less than 10,000. And so a lot of people got like, 6-figure airdrops where like if like buying a Bored Ape Yacht Club has like turned into like the best investment of all time. Where it's like
if you minted one, you're actually.
Well, it gives people who minted one some liquidity as well, because think about it, it's like their net worth is their Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is worth like, well, it was at 75 ETH, and it dropped down, and people sold some Bored Ape yacht clubs like right after ApeCoin launched because it's like the hype. So like they're able to sell the coins and still keep their Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like so.
And so I thought it was kind of crazy because I was like, the day that it launched,
it was very scammy.
It looked sketchy and the chart looked confusing. If you go to the first day, it looked like it just dropped.
No, if you go to Dex Screener, and I think Yahoo like reported on it, you showed me an article where it's like it started at 7 and then it jumped up to 40 or like 39.
80, I thought. It was like a weird, it didn't make sense right when it came out.
Yeah, if you like looked on like a Dex Screener or something, it like went up to like $39 for me at least. And then if you go on CoinGecko, it went from like 7 to 9. Like you don't see that jump. So it was like this really like quick bump where people got fucked.
I heard, and it was confusing to read, and I keep forgetting what MEV stands for, but also they talk about like sandwich bots, basically.
Yeah, bots. Yeah.
And so I think someone tried to buy in like a lot.
No,
and
people tried to buy.
Sandwich bot. Just like,
it was very like as soon as
I
it
think there were some
launched,
bots programmed to actually purchase like the
a
second it
lot of
opened.
hackers open like scamming attacks or like phishing scams, trying to get people give up their seed phrases. So it was like
I
a
mean, I saw
minefield
it.
of scams.
I saw it at like 750, and shout out Koski, Aubrey, bought at 750, and I think it's sitting at around 15, 14.
Yeah, so
The first day, people were like fudding quite a bit, and it did go
people
up.
sold too.
Yeah,
Immediately sold their airdrops. And
it's
so,
at 10, so that's a little different than.
but it went
was
from
at
9
15.
to 16.
Yeah,
And so these people a lot of
basically
people
doubled up
were
in the first
bragging.
day. Yeah.
Like I got a 6-figure, and it's already a top 100 coin basically.
Yeah, the market cap is insane. And then that was what I was thinking was a bit not scammy necessarily, but I got a message from Coinbase.
Well, it was a minefield of scam. Like people try to scam other people, not
Well,
necessarily.
also though, it was
not
like
necessarily from the community.
it was
or
a lot
from
of
that coin.
centralized exchanges started offering it like the day that it got offered.
Yeah, FTX. It was traded on FTX. Like
Yeah, they already had, I think, derivatives like perps and options and stuff. But
and people got fucked trying to like short and long. Like people were
yeah,
complaining.
yeah, like people
Slippage
shorting it
was
got
really
blown
high.
out. Yeah,
That's why you saw that screenshot where that guy got sandwich attacked, where essentially like a bot sees that your slippage is set to like a certain percentage and then immediately buys so they can raise that price up because they know that you're trying to meet there, and then they immediately sell. So they make like that small percentage of profit, and they just do that over and over and over again. So
I was reading about the actual mechanics of it, and then the thing is that there's a thing called the mempool where all the Ethereum transactions.
for miners, so that's where they can like sneak in there, and there's like that's a kind of a fault in the system where it's like a delay.
But they do these
they
things
take
that are
advantage of
in
it.
batches, and then based off of what the offered price for the Ethereum transaction is, then the gas fees are done in order of like you can just see someone is doing a transaction that's really big.
That's their slippage. The bot knows all the slippage transactions.
Well, also what you're accepting,
So they
no, because
know-
you can do the faster one, because if you
Yeah,
pay
yeah, yeah,
more,
same-
then you
same
can
thing.
speed up. No, because one is the price that you pay,
No, but I'm saying the
or
bot
the slippage
has,
of the price you pay for the token.
I'm saying the bot has like can see everything,
Yeah.
like whether
Yeah, the bot
your
can see it.
slippage
This is
or
like getting,
whether
I'm just
you
saying
want
it's getting
to,
a little confusing because there's two things. There's slippage where you'll accept a price in between these two different things of the coin that you're swapping.
And then you can choose.
But then you can choose the speed. So there's two separate things
Yeah.
where you're like, I'll take Bitcoin between 42 and 44,000, and then please get it done for this price at a certain speed. And then if you have high slippage, someone's just going to be like, all right, I'll buy before you and sell after you and just pay more to basically pass the tolls. And then I'll do both transactions before you and then one right after.
Yeah, so basically, and then they just make a profit off that transaction multiple times. Like how many yeah, that's the thing about bots. They have no
And I mean, the programmers out there, it's just like a way, I think, just to like earn.
no
But from what I'd heard is like I'd seen this one really good Reddit post where it was like there was a guy who was like hey man, I don't know your real name, but I know your anonymous thing, and our bots have been fighting to be the most efficient and make the most money, and it's been a real pleasure.
It's like Suzu or
Yeah, and it was like, I just want you to know that if you keep at it, maybe your bot will be as fast and good as mine one day. I'm retiring or something, but like keep working hard. I've seen your progress. And it's like the shadow bot like wars like to like, because I've heard if you screw up your bot, your MEV bot that tries to sandwich tax people, like those dudes get wrecked. You know what I mean? Like you're forcing giant transactions through code and you're like, oh whoops, like somebody else's bot just like screwed mine.
You could buy more than you actually have.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could be like auto triggering like giant purchases
Yeah.
that, you know.
So it's a game within a game, obviously.
Yeah. So unless you're actually, there are people out there that know more than us about it, and maybe they can try doing these
Yeah, I
bots.
don't know
But
how to code.
no,
bots.
like, don't be like, oh, sandwich attacks. You say, like, why don't I
Yeah.
just program a bot? And it's like, these are like super geniuses trying to scam each other.
Yeah. So yeah, ApeCoin has been crazy.
And well, the interesting thing too is that they're saying that they're gonna build a metaverse that's
It's
different.
basically a
And I
DAO.
think, yeah, it's like a DAO, but what they're trying to do, there's Decentraland and Sandbox, and they're trying to compete with them. And so I'm wondering if, is there gonna be a multiplicity of metaverses? Like, I think that Decentraland and Sandbox,
Multiverse.
yeah, exactly. The
Multiverse of
multi
metaverses.
metaverse. Like, how many metaverses are there going to be, and which ones are important? And like, basically, I'm going to say that, like, for sure, it's not Facebook.
Yeah, it's basically like all these layer ones competition. Who wants the top spot, who wants to take over. And it's the same thing with metaverses now, with all these different Decentraland, Sand, Meta.
And the thing that I think, honestly, is that it's going to be like one of the video games. Like, why actually be caring more about an actual metaverse instead of like, I'd rather play a video game and then that will be my metaverse. Like, why just start with the metaverse to like go live in?
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a gaming company that
Actually gets people
Well,
hooked.
that's why like Microsoft bought Blizzard and like Sony bought
Honestly, World of Warcraft is already a metaverse. Like,
exactly. So they're definitely like buying on intellectual property to try to transition. And so yeah, be curious to see how things play out, especially where it might take you for a surprise since everything's been so bearish. And you might think that like nothing's happening, but things are happening, I guess.
yeah. Besides that, there was also this thing that happened on like Twitter, basically, that was having to do with Luna and Do Kwon. And so, I mean, Brian, you want to kind of say who he is and like what's the deal with Luna?
Yeah, so he's the founder of Luna, the head guy of Luna, similar to like a Vitalik of Ethereum. And so he is building the Luna ecosystem out, and he's behind UST.
That's the big thing. I just, sorry to interrupt, but they used to call him Stable Kwon. And then the big thing is that US Terra is a really large stable coin. And this is what I wanted to mention was I had heard that they're bringing Terra to AVAX, which is like, what? Like, these are just some next level.
Well,
I'm just like,
they
what?
already have that Anchor protocol on AVAX now. And so the thing is that with Luna, it's like Luna and UST are linked to each other because it's like $1 UST minted burns $1 worth of Luna. And so that like creates
It's like some weird
supply demand mechanism.
It's a really intense ecosystem. And then Do Kwon has backers with serious fucking pockets. So I believe they just invested like 3 billion more or something.
They're doing 10 billion BTC buy.
Yeah.
Because they raised funds and
to then like I think
3 arrows.
Yeah, to like maintain liquidity for or I don't know exactly what the plans were for that.
Basically make a sense of like a reserve currency where it's like they're buying assets to back UST. So they're gonna buy Bitcoin. And so they raise like 10 billion. And so they're gonna start buying Bitcoin soon to accommodate to increase it back, or like to have a
pump it up. You got to pump it up.
So we'll see at what I think they're doing like 3 billion at a time. So we'll see.
Shout out Do Kwon.
The fact goes.
But Do Kwon put down what was it, $10 million bet?
So it was originally $1 million, and then
they started
with
measuring
Algon trading.
Algod, yeah.
Algod trading, and so
ALGOD. I don't know.
Kobe, they asked Kobe to be like the middleman.
I think he volunteered, and then they took him up on it.
Well, yeah.
So he's the
to
escrow
be-
where
yeah,
people are leaving the
escrow.
money.
And he posts the wallet address, and then people started.
And he was like, someone
sending it.
else put in 2 million. Like,
Yeah.
why? Like someone,
So-
there's like 2 bets of 10 million,
I
and
think
then
they're gonna
random people are
create a
putting in.
DAO. So
Yeah,
Alga Trading, he's like bearish on USD. It's a very elaborate Ponzi, like everything.
it's
the stock
basically a bet though on the price of Luna in like a year being
That-
like
so right now-
significantly higher. I think
No,
it's at
it's
88,
just-
right?
No, so Alga thinks it's going to be less than 88. And
Yeah,
then
but it's
a
not-
bet. It's
No,
a bet.
but it's like, what is it at now? What's Luna at now?
Well, it's at like 90,
No way.
Yeah.
No,
91,
it's 91.
93.
Oh,
So it was at
so he was
80.
trying to say that it's gonna, because it was lower at the time.
Um,
Man, I should have listened to my friend Omar from college told me about Luna. Like,
so 2 weeks ago it was at 80, but it's been basically sideways around 88. And so that's what they like said, like they set the price at 88. So they think Algot thinks it's going to be less than 88 a year from now. And then,
but there have been scares that UST was gonna like,
well, the whole Wonderland thing was a scare with UST. And, that kind of people, that was a very big stress test for Luna. And so, yeah, that, and then people were scared that it would depeg. And it was like, I think it got to like 85 or something, and people got liquidated on the degen box because people just loop, that's essentially leverage. And then,
because didn't it go to 0.9 or something?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
they just Doquan topped it off or something, and then
someone
held the peg.
immediately invested,
Yeah,
put money in.
because someone was
that's the
just
thing.
buying that thing, and like if it's like stable coin, eventually when it's stabilized, like
That's
if
the thing,
you're buying
like-
$1 for less than $1.
Anchor right now is like you can get 19%, 19.5 APY on UST, but it's unsustainable. Like right now, it's burning money. It's unsustainable. So you're probably not going to get 20% for
Forever.
Maybe not even this year. And people are like, they had to put more money into the reserve to feel it. So it's just like burning cash or burning coins right now. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I think we've like with this bear market stuff, it's like there's less to talk about, so we could keep it brief. But we got one topic kind of left before the shows, but it was kind of funny because there was a lot of talk about it because it was like a high profile thing with two big
Vitalik.
characters. Yeah, and Vitalik's been in the news more and more, and I think people
He's
are
on the
starting to catch
cover-
on.
Well,
Is he on the cover of Time?
that was what it was, is that so he has a Time, he was on the cover of Time, and so people are making fun of his Time cover because they don't know who Vitalik is. And he's, if you ever
Yeah, you
seen a
gotta pull it
picture of
up.
him,
He's very thin, and he and also if you ever heard him talk, I would listen to him on either Up Only or on the Lex Fridman podcast. And the guy is incredibly intelligent, and he kind of sounds a bit.
so this was the Time cover, and it's a really bad cover of him. And this t-shirt says, "The Prince of Crypto has concerns. Ethereum creator Vitalik fights to fix the world he creates." And so people were, and he reads the trolls, and he says it's on Up Only, and because he doesn't get most of the references because he's not into like pop culture or anything. And so some of the quote tweets are like, "I've never seen a face more deserving of being shoved into a locker in my entire life. This guy looks like the clone Tom Brady keeps locked in his basement to periodically feed on to stay youthful. This is if Tom Brady was on dog food. How's it possible to be this rich and still be ugly? Oh my God, get a hair transplant or Botox, a new wardrobe, something." And so in his quote, he announces that he didn't even know who Tom Brady was. And then Tom Brady actually came out and said, like, "Big fan, nice to meet you."
No, this is what he said though. I didn't even know who Tom Brady is. Had to ask people around me. My best guess was that he was the actor from Mission Impossible. And so then, yeah, anyone else thinks he looks like if Tom Brady did meth. The Prince of Crypto kind of looks like Tom Brady after 2 years of retirement and no weightlifting. Bro looked like a dystopian Tom Brady. Tom Brady with the reverse Captain America super soldier serum.
Yeah.
They just like, and then there was someone who responded. Well, Brady responded.
Yeah, he's like big fan. Now you know, or
And then he showed his like
Introducing-
without you, my
autograph.
NFT
autograph
autograph company wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
And
would
so
not
then
be
it was like a
possible.
charming thing. And then they were just like, is this the beginning of the Brady Vitalik friendship? And someone was like, yo, somebody talk to Warner Brothers and get this buddy mystery flick, like buddy drama, like get this greenlit. We
Well,
need these two in a room
Tom
together.
Brady was trying to get into Hollywood more when he retired,
Yeah.
but now he's back. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he's got paid in Bitcoin, hasn't he? I mean, he's already.
Yeah, I think. I mean,
Him
he's
and
he has
Giselle
a
are FTX,
partnership
aren't they?
with FTX. Like
Him and Giselle
they're-
both are
they're in
FTX.
FTX commercials.
Yeah. But one of the
so,
other
yeah.
things, I don't know what the deal was with all this publicity, but Vitalik was talking about also like some other article where he was like kind of fudding NFTs, and his quote was like, "You've got people buying and selling these $3 million monkeys, and it's a different kind of gambling." So he's basically saying NFTs are like gambling. And it's kind of like, man, like, come on, dude. I don't know, though. It was just,
mean-
I was like, I kind of ignored it where I was like, Vitalik, I love you, just not on this topic. Like, really, dude? Like, you're going to FUD and say that Bored Apes are bad or something.
I mean,
But
think
I know that
it's-
he got upset that, like, NFTs were really clogging the system and caused, like,
Well, yeah, people are complaining about the gas.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's clear like the system wasn't ready for like the NFT boom, and I think gas prices have gone back down and because now it's been bearish.
yeah, it's like $20, $40.
But yeah, so it's been eventful to say the least. This whole thing. Now it's been like basically a year now. Officially, it's been a year. But it's crazy how things have turned in 1 year.
Yeah, it's like Conan with those little things. Like, you remember that Bitfinex hack? That was like 7 weeks ago. Like,
Yeah.
there's like an insane amount of like, there just every week there's, you know, news and news and news. And it's like, it's becoming, you know, it feels like sometimes the podcast also has to go macro because it's like becoming a part of the world, you know, that we have today where crypto is going to put an impact on moving money and refugees and
Well, yeah, look at the executive order from Biden that we talked about, where it's basically, you know, to learn more about crypto, to make sure we can be, the US can be a place of innovation for crypto and not hinder it.
Mhm.
So on that note, we got shills in this bear market. Are we shilling? Where are you shilling?
I mean, I was joking with him, but it's like kind of true where it's like I'm showing like, you know, physical collectibles, some diamonds, Rolexes, some good hedges against what was the other one? A Birkin bag,
Real estate.
real
Chanel
estate,
bags.
Chanel bags. But I mean, of crypto, I kind of had this deep sense, and it's almost like a weird one, where I'm like feeling Ethereum, where it's like a safe play, where I'm like, it's undervalued and it feels about time. And I know though, but like Brian said, the bull trap where it's like, I was like, okay, if it's at 29, it's gonna go above 3. Like I felt that there was gonna be a lot of buys
But
at
it
3.
didn't go at
It
3.
didn't.
It like
Nah, there was
got
like
rejected.
resistance. Yeah. So, but I'm feeling that at some point the resistance breaks. Just got a feeling. So I'm gonna go with Ethereum. Plus, like, yeah, bullish on like Vitalik and like hopefully scaling low gas fees.
After that rate hike, like things got
And then
really
people being a bit
bullish.
more chill. Yeah, exactly.
Like there's actually very few bears.
I think
Like
there's a lot of secret
food,
money piled on the sidelines,
just waiting.
just
for,
waiting. It's institutional money, and we're at the whim of like. There's no GameStop crowd of like people spending a couple $100 to like
Yeah,
pump the bags. Like that's not happening anymore for
because
a while.
they don't want to pay the gas.
They're kind of screwed at the moment. But.
And yeah, so my shill, I'm bullish on Trader Joe. Like staking Joe, you can stake it for like 20% APY, and then you can like loop it a little bit and get like bonus rewards. And then you can get it's trading like if you bought it last week, it was like 80 cents, and now it's like $1. So it's like a good 20%. But yeah, there's a lot of staking rewards, and then like when AVAX booms, like usually Trader Joe is like the next one to go, like trickle down because it's the main DEX. So
I'm just gonna also mention because I was looking at it. Looks rare. The dumping of the rewards might have bottomed out because it was at 1, got up to 175. It's at 146. I looked at it and I kept my rewards in wrapped ETH instead of buying into looks. Might have been a mistake because I could have the appreciation on the looks. If looks is bottomed, you keep earning wrapped ETH based off how much looks you have. So if I had converted, not only would I have more looks that increased in price, but I would have been earning more rewards. So I'll take a second look at that, but looks rare. I mean, OpenSea, the whole NFT marketplace, a little nervous on all of that. And like, I don't know if I like OpenSea, or I don't know if Coinbase is ever going to launch their NFT thing. That's been waiting forever. But I mean, yeah, NFT marketplaces looks rare. Yeah, I don't know. Metaverses. I'm just actually saying the opposite of a shill, like short all of these. They can all be copied.
short crypto.
They can, some of the protocols where it's just like, this can be vampire attacked. This can be decentralized. This can get easy competition. Decentraland and Mana, Brian was showing them way back, and then they pumped like crazy. And now I'm like, now it's gonna be like the gig is up. You might have been the
You gotta
first.
find the next wave.
There's no like
Yeah.
monopoly. Like I'm more comfortable in OpenSea than like the metaverse projects because they're just so early. Like,
Come on, I mean, it's like Link with oracles. Like there's no, I mean, Link has monopoly, but there's no NFT version of that. And there's like, I mean, they had plenty of time to do that, right?
yeah, it's the same with the nodes where I'm just a
I think
little
OpenSea,
nervous.
like fumbled the bag a little bit.
They really did. They really could have been better to their users. But
Everyone's trying to make a buck now.
yeah.
Taxes coming up too. I
Mama-
still haven't received
Mama
my
need
tax.
a house. Baby needs some shoes. Hustle. All right, we're gonna hustle. Hey,
Peace. Thank you for listening. This has been, I think, episode 40 of the Crypto Startup Podcast. So thank you for listening.